Hello. Today's episode number 83 of the Professor Slots podcast discusses closed casinos. Plus, in this episode, I'll be covering the current state of slot machine casino gambling in the great U.S. state of Minnesota. Thank you for joining me for the Professor Slots podcast show. I'm John Friedel, and this is the podcast about slot machine casino gambling. It is where I provide knowledge, insights, and tools for helping you improve your slot machine gambling performance. In case you missed it, on my last episode, I talked about meeting online instead of going to the local casino. Further, I reviewed Michigan slot machine casino gambling in 2020. I hope you enjoyed listening to my last episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Here's the audio recording of my latest live Q&A session. Howdy, folks. If someone wants to mention, check to make sure they have visual and audio, that would be awesome. Trying to do a little better each time. All right. Hello, fellow slots enthusiasts. It's great to hang out with you for another Professor Slots podcast episode and live stream. This Q&A session is every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time here on my John Friedel Professor Slots YouTube channel. If you're here live, and I see several of you are, it's great to hang out with you guys and talk about slots related topics. Besides all the usual Q&A, questions that you might have, I thought our topic today would be how we can make the most of casino closings. So let's just jump right into it. We have a high sign that we're good on the audio, good on the visual. I hope so. Okay. So yes, what an amazing week. Every week is different. I know that in a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, we're going to look back on this time and say, oh, that was right before this happened, or, yep, that was the last of it. Oh, all this other stuff happened. It's pretty amazing time. And what's just to let people in the future know, we have most of the casinos are closed. They just finally closed in the last week. There might be a few open in Oklahoma, but word has gone out on our slots community in Oklahoma. Thanks, Jingwalk. And no one seems to have heard of any. If you're in chat in the live stream, please tell us what state you're in. And if you happen to know of any casinos that are still open, please let us know. I don't know. I don't recognize anybody that might be from Florida. And I'd heard that the Seminole casinos were still open in Florida, but, and there's just so many in Oklahoma that I don't know, but, Massachusetts, California, Las Vegas, someone said it was the city that never sleeps. I'm not sure. Was that New York City? Where's that slogan from? But it looks like the city that never slept is sleeping. And that happened in our lifetimes. Pretty amazing. So I hope everybody, just to be clear here, I hope everybody is safe and taking care of themselves. Let's see. So what I wanted to talk about today was how to make the most of casino closings. And there is a bunch of different things. I want to get your thoughts on that as well. There's a bunch of things that I think that we can do. First and foremost, we can save our bankroll, so that when it is time to go back, we might possibly have a bigger than usual bankroll. And I kind of, me, I'm logical. Okay. So, I try to use that to help you. And if you are going to have a larger than usual bankroll, then why don't we consider how best to use it? I'm not quite sure we're right there yet. It would be helpful to know when casinos might open, and we'll get into that a little bit. But one of the things that someone had mentioned on about Las Vegas was the Strip casinos, hotels. Someone had dug out that they have openings beginning, I think it was April 17th, April 12th or April 17th. Who knows if that's when they decide to open, if it means anything. But I suppose they had to put a number on it, and they can always change it later. Okay. So I want to check in with, everybody who is here. Look like we got, Scott and Joe and Denise, showed up, just before we went live. It's always wonderful to see that. Scott is, new. First one here waiting. I hope he didn't sleep out overnight. like what was it? One of the Star Wars movies from 81 or something. You got yourself a little tent. So you're a farmer from, Ozark, Missouri, and gamble every day. Yeah. My grandparents were farmers, and I hear you. Mostly soybean in Michigan. And some cows, but not that many cows. I think you said something about, 99 cows. Okay. Joe, good afternoon. Joe's from California, and seems to appreciate Scott's jokes. Denise, yes, Denise, is a regular, and she is in Texas, but gambles in Oklahoma. Let's see, we have, Scott told us about cows. Excellent. Thanks, Scott. Let's see, going through, let's see if there's more. Looks like I got good audio, good visual. Trying not to move away from the mic, all these things to technically sort of fine tune things. At some point, I might as well mention now, I'll go through more of the chat in a moment, but, I get better. If you've been around for a while, you know that. And it never really ends. Please don't ever go back to my first episode on my podcast. Actually, the first one was like an intro for 2 minutes or something. But the second episode was really my first long episode. And, I'm so sorry. I got better. And, there are things on the live here, which people had been pointing out. I get some comments on the early ones, and I'm like, hey, I stopped doing that like 10 episodes ago or 10 videos ago. So, this has been a great learning experience, on the Q&A sessions. And I do appreciate your patience. Those of you who have been around, it is how things work for me. I do the best I can. I don't wait to be perfect, because it doesn't arrive, and learn from what I put out there. It's the best thing I know. You can't be afraid of it. So, but I wanted to let you know, based on this example, if you've been here more than once, things are going to continue that way year after year. So, I'm right now working on an online course, for those of you who are currently live with me. I am looking for a beta group. A couple of you have given me a preference. I will type in my email, or you can email me if you'd be interested in being in the beta group, which is going to be an offering of a free online course. There's going to be a limit. I haven't quite figured out what that limit's going to be. Email me at the email I just provided. I don't want to say it out loud. Let's do it that way. You bared with me here, live, and made an effort to be here live. And if you email me that you're interested in being in the beta group, I will try to add you up to the number, whatever number I end up having in that first group. It will be a free offering of the course, but it'll also be the first offering of the course. And there's going to be plenty of things to fix. And I'll be looking forward to you contributing, to you, reviewing, to you suggesting many things that need to be fixed here, there, and elsewhere. And that's basically how you pay. And we'll have a better product, and you'll be part of that, and it'll be free for you. And I need a limited number. Now, when will this happen? Good question. First of all, the casinos will have to come back. So, we'll see how this goes. But right now it's an opportunity, as we are discussing. How can we make the most of casino closings? Personally, I'm doing several things. One is, I'm here for you. We have to social distancing 6 feet apart, but you know what? Just pile on online, just more the merrier, just come right up and, virtually be there. And so, thanks, Dean Vegas shut down. Yeah. Wow. But I'm trying to be of service. I've increased my postings, on my website and on my slots communities to be daily, where before it was like every other day or more. And I will see what I can do to maintain that for as long as possible. I think I have no reused content for like 45 days. And after that, well, we'll see how it goes. I hope that, because I think, with all don't mean to go on about it, but if we're slots enthusiasts and we're not playing slots, what are we doing? So there's educating ourselves, it's probably a highfalutin term, to sort of take the opportunity to maybe read that book you bought or, I don't have ones over here in the corner, over my right shoulder. And if you want to buy Learning to Win on Amazon, there is the print on demand softcover, and also the ebook. One of the things, I'm kind of talking about me right now, but, how we can make the most of casino closings. I am working diligently on the audio version, and I am trying to provide stuff to reach out to you that would be helpful towards alleviating your boredom. Once you get through all of the Netflix movies, if you have Netflix or Amazon Prime, I don't know about you, but I have. Of course, I did all that years ago, until I got myself a real job and, with my spare time with you guys. And so, I want to help you with getting stuff. So I have some articles on history, some articles on definitions, some articles about laws, some articles about, slot manufacturers, and, also all the stuff about how to win, depending on whether or not that casino operates that way. And so that's one thing we won't be able to check is to try out some stuff, but you can plan and you can review. So let me just go back to, hi, Philly. Chris from, Minnesota. Great. Hi. Rachel. Good to see you. Saget Valley, watching. Steve. Steve says hello to everybody from Wisconsin. Let's see. And, thanks, Steve. And let's see. Bruce. Hey, Bruce, checking in from Kansas City, Missouri area. Excellent. Doug Heck. Hey, we really celebrated your arrival last time. Sorry about that. It's good to see you. Sloppy Golf. Hey, Mike from Virginia is here. Old time supporter. Wendy Dye. Seems like it's been a little while. Heading to Seven Clans, Newkirk, Oklahoma right now, and they are closing at 2 a.m. tomorrow. Okay. So you've got about 12 hours. What you doing here? Yep. Dean mentioned Vegas is shut down. That's confirmation. He's there. Chris, all Native American casinos in Minnesota are closed now. Yep. At this point, we're just probably looking for anything that's open. And that means Seven Clans, Newkirk, Oklahoma, is open until another 12 hours or so, a little bit less. Central time. So just over 12 hours. Yeah. Bruce had mentioned, did you mention that before? You might have mentioned that before. A couple of people have mentioned before that casino industry stocks is a great opportunity, but be smart. Yeah, it's a little hard to predict at this point. I work in the aviation industry. Talk about hard to expect, but I'm diversified. So, that's all I can do. Scott, don't think they'll be open until mid-April earliest. I agree with you. A month, since they kind of big spurt of them closed mid-March, and being closed 2 weeks is almost certain. It's already been a week, and another week is almost certain. And then 2 more weeks after that, 3. Yeah. And Scott, I want to be truthful, but I also want to be helpful. I want to be hopeful and helpful. And, yeah, we can say it's going to be closed for 2 weeks. We can probably say it's going to be closed 2 more weeks after that. And as you point out, 4 more weeks after that is not unexpected. I think another, and again, everybody has their opinion because we're a little uncertain exactly what the the data is showing for cases. But there's a lag. I think, I'm not a medical person, but from what I've been listening to the professionals, there's a 3-week lag, where the burst sort of happens 3 weeks after sort of cases are found. I'm sure you all have been following much more closely than I have. I get announcements for Ohio, and that's one thing. And apparently it's pretty aggressive here in Ohio. I saw a report recently that said Ohio is just bang on with trying to make things happen, as much as anybody, I suppose. So I'm getting that sort of thing. And no reason to get into what's happening in the aviation industry, manufacturing of jet engines that I work on during the day. I'm going on about this. So yeah, casinos are likely to be closed for weeks, and we'll know more next week, and we'll know more next week after that. And so I will be here with you, offering you non-boring stuff, one hopes. And let's see, Scott says, don't think they will open yet till mid-April. Hi, Jan. Glad you could be here. Yep, Jan is from Texas. Hey, Dave and Lois is here. Wonderful family friends. And my father is not here yet. Okay. Honestly, as much as I appreciate my father, he doesn't have to be here for this. And I appreciate you letting me know, when he shows up. Steve. Hey, Steve. Steve is from North Carolina, and he has some of my shirts. Which is great for him to wear at a casino, because maybe some of the other people in North Carolina casinos know me because he wears the shirt. Right. You'd heard a lot of my early pods. Steve is kindly confirming that I am much improved, but those of you who have listened to the podcast know that I improve, and the same will happen here. Just letting you know who I am and what I do. Best part is seeing you navigate with the constant changes in the industry and the variety of your fan base. Thank you. We get a bunch of people. We get a diverse group of people, and I'm learning my audience. And there's a certain amount of segmentation. That's just entrepreneurial terms. We have people who love tribal casinos and non-tribal casinos, and we get the occasional poker player who says, well, I get this free slot play, what do I do with it? I want to make the most of it. And there's others who can't gamble yet because, like, say they're in Virginia and they don't travel that much and are waiting for casinos to show up, so they're trying to get ahead of it. And this is all part of how we can make the most of casino closings. And Jen says, great book, must have. Dave and Lois are in Florida, south of Orlando, and more or less, not too far south, and the Seminole Brighton, and Seminole Tampa have closed yesterday, they report. So you guys have been, reporting on the state by state slots communities, what's closing as it closes. And that's been really useful to, kind of convey this. If you need to know your local casino, please, there's ways that you can check that. But as far as kind of covering the nation and watching everything kind of come down, slow down and close. I don't know. It isn't quite so bad as, 9/11. But where were you when the Vegas casinos closed? It's just something I'll always have in the back of my mind. Not quite in the front of my mind, like some other stuff. So, great, Scott. Last time Vegas shut down was one day. Oh, okay. Thank you. That is a good point. Vegas, closed, for John F. Kennedy's funeral. That's interesting. Okay. So, let's see. Tony, hello from Atlanta, and Richard. Richard is from Western North Carolina. Richard has been sending me text messages because he has my mobile phone address, and after a while, I was like, "Who's this?" and he was kind of just telling me. So now you're in my address book, and I'll know where all those wonderful links come from. Let's see. Geez, thanks. Okay, so thank you for saying I've come a long way, but I know that I will. I know that I have. I know that it will continue, and you need to know it's going to continue. This Q&A, I'm in the mode of thinking about how we can make the most of things. This Q&A session has given me a lot of practice, which will be part of the online course experience when you get to it. So it'll come out better because of all this practice. And part of the online course, which will be not live, there will be a live element to it before and after. And I want you to be able to take it whenever you want to. And that's currently my thinking. We'll see if I can get a live component in there, but I want it to be independent of time zones and all that. So beforehand is a webinar, and the webinar is something I'm going to be doing. The plan is to do a weekly webinar. In each weekly webinar would be a new group of people who have never seen it before. And that kind of, because of this, I'll be able to do that better, and that'll get better, and I'll get questions and answers, and it'll be a question and answer sort of presentation. And then at the end, people will sign up for the course. Basically a 3-point structure, webinar, online course, and then we'll have a community afterwards for people who have graduated. And so if you weren't here, I put a note in the chat with my email address. Please email me if you'd like to be a beta tester. I have a certain number that I will accept. I don't know quite what that number will be. I have to do something reasonable, not unreasonable. And it may be, well, I was thinking earlier it's going to be October, but it might be a little bit later. The casinos have to come back. So that's the sort of thing. Richard had mentioned a name for the, I've been calling you guys slots enthusiasts, but that's what I call you. And I'm keeping an ear out, an eye out for people talking about what they would prefer to be called. And Richard has come up with several, Jan has come up with several, and others have come up with several. And I have a list. I have the list, but I'm looking for something, what would you call yourself? And that's something I'm kind of waiting to sort of happen organically. I have these nice names, and they might not be appropriate for starting an email to you by saying, hello, Slots University. But Slots University might be a great name would be a pretty good name, for the online course, particularly if I start getting more than one course. So there is a possibility, Richard, that might be it. Oh, there's a Slots University of Past. In any case, I will have to use something that's not copyrighted, of course. But there's some good names out there. Okay, so let's see. Richard, Las Vegas Sands is donating $250K to help local organizations, 3 Square schools, etc. I hope so. That's great. Yeah, we're all in this together, right? And all right, I should get my Post-it note out, my 4th one. Grab my pen. Dean has come up with a name for us, and I will write it down. If you guys want to brainstorm, I got my little notepad here. We can add more. So Dean says the Slot Tribe. So when you're brainstorming, there's no wrong answer. If we weren't brainstorming, I might say, "Hey, Dean, the Slot Tribe." There's the name of the army, and then there's the name of the people in the army. Richard, I saw out of the corner of my eye that you were using the word army. Richard, you're a little militant. I like that, but it may not work for this. All right, so I've got Dean's written down. And, Richard, I don't know that there's actually a total, a maximum number you can have, but I think you're around 5 or 6 at this point, and they all have the word army in it. So, but I'll add it again. Slot Fantastics. Fanantics. Army. I can't get my Slotisfaction. Mick Jagger. Okay. Slot Commanders. Okay. Yeah. Sensing a theme there. And so if you have more, please share. I do have a video out there that says, we want to have a name, and I'm not in a hurry, and I'm finding more uses for these names than I had thought. Right. So let's get back to how can we make the most of casino closings. Besides what I mentioned already. Hey, would you please press the like button? And if you care to, the subscribe button. Whenever we press a like button on a live Q&A, that encourages YouTube to tell more people that we're live. And then we get more people in. And I probably should have mentioned this like half an hour ago, because if we do that, then, it just becomes a bigger, more diverse group, and word gets out. It's just using the YouTube algorithm as it was intended. If you care to, and subscribing will notify you of more videos which are coming. I just recorded this morning. I thought I'd recorded 8 of them, but it turns out 2 of them I didn't press the record button firmly, so I had to redo 2 of them. Only 6 of them are done, and those are state by state ones. And I have a bunch of others that would be coming up that need to be recorded, and you should start seeing those. It'll be more than just a live. So I'll put out I've worked out the schedule. I just want to entertain people during this time, so I'm probably going to put them out pretty quick, but try to cover the next 8 weeks or so. So we'll see how that works. Okay. Richard, be aware that if you comment much more, YouTube will slow you down, and because they only let you have so many comments in every 10 minutes. So save it for the good ones. Just teasing Richard a little bit. Okay, so how do we make the most of casino closings? First off, you're not spending money. And a lot of people not everybody, I'll be fair. You're not spending money. You're not making money. Some of you do make money at slots. You know a lot, or some of the stuff that applies at your casino that I know you know. And you make money. So you're not doing that right now because your casino's closed. Or you may be more likely, since you might be coming here looking for help, or knowledge or whatever. Some of this might end up being, how do you make more money or make more money to spend? So you may be saving money right now instead of making money. And so your bankroll potentially is increasing. That came out so confusing. Right. So you're not spending money at a casino, and so time goes by, you might have an accumulated bankroll. What you going to do with it? If we're closed for 2 weeks, that's one thing. But if we're closed for 8 weeks, then, hey, Scott, the slot school, where learning is fun. Although I do try to tell people there will be homework, and some people don't think, homework is necessarily fun. But I'll put that down, for you, Scott. Logos are also appreciated. So that's something I'm trying to do, less always be distracted. But you have such good ideas, people. Okay, so if you have money set aside, and more as we're taking a little enforced break, what's your plan? Go in and blow it. Go into a casino and try one of my strategies. Do you know some of my strategies that work or that you want to try, but you didn't have a big enough bankroll? What's your plan? Casinos are closed. Take a minute to think about it. Wait a week and take a minute to think about it. That's one thing. The plans, are many, because I've written down 7, 8 of them. I probably should take numbers off of them because it's gotten to be so many, winning strategies, which depend on, most of them depend on the casino business practices. There are a few that don't matter what the casino business practices are, because it's money management skills. And so I'll detail all this in more of a step-by-step process. Everything that's going to be in the online course is available in my articles, in my book, podcast, Q&A sessions, but it's hundreds of hours of reading and listening and watching. So I am, the online course won't be hundreds of hours. It will be a process. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Should be 6 weeks long, and then it will just delineate, distill, concentrate, what to do. But it's all available if you just want to listen and put it together yourself. I'm not holding anything back, but I do think of new stuff. Especially when I see something happening at a casino and it brings some insight. Yeah. I think Dave and Lois Tisdall, noticed, has commenting. If you have comments on some of these others, which ones you like, Slot Commanders seems to be, a positive one. Feel free to jump in there and in the comment, please. That's another signal to YouTube, by the way, that we're doing okay, and we should be put out there. More people comment. So tell me, you see these, scroll past, tell me which ones you like. Slot Commander's in there, and it seems to be pretty popular at the moment. I kind of like that too. I think I said that. So comment to each other in chat, what you like. I'll keep an eye on it. Okay. So, we have bankroll growing in the meantime. We have, you can do research. You can, decide what to do with that perhaps larger than usual bankroll when the time comes. And one of those things would be to review what's already out there. But then we have the short-term stuff. Okay. You know this, right? We don't know quite how casinos are going to open. What I do know, and I'm kind of letting it kind of come over me, trying to keep an eye on the situation. It was obvious to me that, casinos thought they would be closed for 2 weeks up until maybe last weekend, in which case, or even Monday, a couple of days after our last live. And that meant that they would be reopened before the end of the month. And there's that first part of March was a problem because a lot of them just tightened up. And, that's never a good idea. We're all suspicious that they're going to tighten up, but you have protections in place, one protection or another, compacts or state regulations, or even just the protection of, and this one kind of falls for everybody. It's probably the most prominent one is it's not a good business if you take too much money from your customers. You are aware of that, right? If you are in a state that says theoretical payout return is set at 85%, like it is in Ohio, that's the minimum, then yeah, you can lose all your money partly because you might go all the way through it, have $100, bet all of it, have $85, bet all of it, have 85% of that, bet all of it, have 85% of that. And you can spend all your money while still getting 85% return. And you math people out there, I know it would get down to a penny, but then it'll stay at less than a penny for forever. But, 85% isn't, of the previous amount is just smaller, not zero. Any case, sorry, I just geeked out there for a minute on math. Right. So, if you, have the opportunity, what was my point? Sorry about that. Distractions happen inside my head as well. Right. So you have, bankrolls, and you have the, ability to, 85% return in Ohio. Your state may or may not have a theoretical payout limit. All right. Thank you for all the likes. Much appreciated. We'll see if we get a Zoom number of people showing up. Don't let myself get distracted. Right. So 85% in Ohio, minimum theoretical, no maximum theoretical. Pennsylvania, 85% minimum, 100% maximum, but that's over the lifetime of the game. So as long as you avoid just, the newer slot machines by the door that may or may not stay after 2 weeks, then you kind of ignore the 100%. That's important. That's gaming regulations, but I don't know that I've actually shared this anywhere. It's there, but it's not as prominent as perhaps it should be. In a lot of ways, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all. And the reason why it doesn't matter, it's important, but the business practice, how would I put that? I'll put it this way. If a casino is smart, they have good business practices. They will never go to 85%. But we don't know exactly how many casinos are smart because, tightening things up before a pandemic was stupid. Sorry, I hope nobody here owns a casino. And if you do, are you single? Sorry. Any case, if 85%, return, you can rarely find a casino that allow things to drop that low because it raises, the players see that and they're just like, this is no good place to play. There's plenty of non-slots people out there and maybe some slots people here or elsewhere, not you guys, who think that you go to a casino and they can take all your money. They can, but if you bet all your money once, the theoretical return is 85%. And sure, you can spend all your money, but that's not quite the same thing. And but there's plenty of people out there who say, well, you can go to a casino and win nothing ever. And they just take your money. And that's a misunderstanding, which I'm slowly trying to correct. If they don't ever listen to me or play slots or are interested, then they won't learn that. But businesses need to keep things above 85% or even sometimes, keep it over 90% like they do in Maine, because otherwise people are like, this is not worth my time. So, when they reopen, if they reopened before the end of March, which doesn't seem like it will be the case, but if they had, then they have to deal with earlier in the month having been tight. So they would have to loosen in order to meet their obligations, whether it be the state regulations, whether it would be the compact, or just the more important high level having a business. So when they reopen ask yourself this question. Is it the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, or the end of the month? If it's at the end of the month, they can't tighten because there's no recovery time. They have to meet their obligations. If it's at the beginning of the month, then they can maybe make it tight for the first half of the month and particularly loose in the second half of the month, that sort of thing. You have to look at the monthly average, and they have to meet the target with their monthly average. Now, there are exceptions like Nevada, which, while they do report their return statistics monthly online, they actually report to the Gaming Commission weekly. So that's why they can really pull down make everything tight on the weekends when California comes to visit, but have to loosen it during the week. And the Gaming Commission doesn't know otherwise because it's per week that they have to report. And we only see the reports when they come out once a month. So, everybody else, well, there might be a couple that are annual, but everybody else who does report return statistics is monthly. So as long as the month comes out to the requirement, then they're good. So when your casino reopens, figure out what time of the month it is. Is it towards the end? Because it's toward the end, it's less likely to be tight because they can't do that. But if it's toward the beginning, then they could potentially loosen it the latter part of the month, in which case you might want to go the latter part of the month. Right? So it's kind of those two reasons right there, those two business logic reasons. Tell me the end of the month. Whatever month they reopen, towards the end of the month is better. All right. That's what we know so far. That's just pretty clear. Best odds. Now it's just a question of which month. I want to review some of the chat. Looks like we've got, some good things here. Yep. Let's see. In reality, Chris from Minnesota says, in reality, a lot of people who play slots have extra money. Oh, sure. I discourage the people who say, I want to go to graduate school, but I have an $800 bill, but I've collected $400 in which I could either pay the bill or I could go to the casino and gamble it and get the $800. And I'm like, no. What? No, it's going to take you $400 to even figure out how to win. So no. It's right. So, people who play slots have extra money. I've seen others, but I hear what you mean. Anybody who plays long term, is either, a degenerate gambler, which is a serious medical condition. And the rest of us are sort of, using it as entertainment. Yeah. What impact do you think the $1,200 government checks will be in the hands of, those gamblers? Okay. So, you said, what impact do I think the $1,200 government checks, which, by the way, I will believe when I see it, will be in the hands of those gamblers? I hope they spend it. I hope they spend all of it. Because we had a stimulus package years ago. I'm not a political science person. But we had some sort of stimulus package once upon a time. Ford comes to mind. And everybody kept it in their bank account. And it wasn't a stimulus. So I hope they spend it. I hope they spend it on food, toilet paper, if they can find any. I hope they spend it. Yeah. If they spend it at a casino, well, that's probably a shame for them, but good for the economy. Yeah. At $1,200, if they win anything at all, the taxes go to the government. That helps. Take one for the team. Let's see. Greener pastures. I would think online slots would see an increase of users now. That's a crazy topic. That is a crazy topic. First off, I want to make clear to everybody, there's two kinds of online slots. There's online social slots, which isn't about money. You pay. That's it. All right. It's free unless you want to play a little bit more that day, in which case you have to spend money. That's social slots. It's fun. Okay. Slots. Casino slots is serious fun. Social slots is just fun. So,
yes, I'm not allowed to be frivolous.
Okay. I should turn my phones off. Apparently, there's a woman in my phone who actually thought I said something to her. Right. Online slots. There is the fun kind, and then there's a serious fun kind. The serious fun kind is online slots for real money gambling. It is available in limited locations. There are also plenty of people out there trying to scam you for your money. So what you can do is go to, and I have this on my New Jersey website, if you have access and want to play online slots for real money gambling, and you probably can't because your state won't allow it and blocks the connection. But if in case you're in one of those states that does have, may have legal online gambling for real money, go to my article, professorslots.com, and I'll type it in here. professorslots.com/NJ. Oops, not a period, /NJ. Because in that article is a conversation about the Gaming Control Board of New Jersey, and they have verified, they have checked over, they have made certain that those online casinos that you can gamble in physically located within a few miles of the New Jersey border, inside the border, you can go to those sites and they verify that those are not people that are going to cheat you, and that's probably a place to start. But otherwise, just be super careful. And the other thing I want to say about online slots is I don't think they're for you. I mean, I think you like the casino environment. I mean, this is a computer. I mean, it's straight up computer. It's not like you walk through a bunch of people and sit down at a computer. No, there is nothing but the computer. There's no entrance. It could be 1 billion people playing. It could be 0 people playing and just you. You know, all the things that we talk about, all the things that I think that we enjoy, despite, just playing the machine. We like the environment. We like to be able to get a drink. We like to be able to get some food. We like to be able to get the comps. We like to be able to we like the whole experience. And online slots is just the slots with no winning. Okay. You can win. You can win at online slots, but there's no winning strategies. You get your 85%. That's all that happens. There's no end of the row slot machine. There's no, and I'm getting a little passionate here. There's no end of the row slot machine that's been set to win because the casino wants you to win, or by the door, new slot machines by the door, or anything. It's all straight up math. You know, you're playing a computer, and, if you want the sound, play social online slots. Just be careful not to just continue to give them money. You get your free coins for the day. They last maybe 20 minutes and that's it. But you get the sounds that maybe you're missing. That's kind of it. In the meantime, I say, from, our topic here, how to make the most of casino closings is to continue to educate yourself. Go back and listen to some of my podcasts. Oh, please. Even the old ones. The ones before I got better. And if you want audio. And, so that's what I would say about that. I'm going to try to keep up with some of the comments here. Can any casinos offer online slots pay out the state they are in? Can any casinos, Sloppy Golf says, can any casinos offer online slot play out of the state they are in? No. It is possible to have another state which has the same gaming regulations. And this is the problem. Tribal gaming is national. Commercial gaming is state by state. Is it possible? Oh, certainly. People in Louisiana, might even be somebody here, people in Louisiana, gamble in Kentucky, but Kentucky, what an end run. They, 2 years ago, was it 2 years ago? I heard reports of it 2 years ago. I think it might have happened the year before that. They got upset that people were playing online slots, that Kentucky residents were playing online slots with companies that were not based in Kentucky. In fact, these companies were based in the Caribbean and overseas. So a judge got something pretty upset up as whatever, and and he sued. Criminal investigation went forward, closed down those websites within Kentucky borders and sued them. I don't know if that's quite the correct term for a judge to do this, but, maybe somebody else did and the judge just took off with it. He required payment from all the money that was spent. All the money that was spent, he got it back. He required it come back. And when it did, he did not give it back to the Kentucky residents that gambled. The state took it. Wow. So I just thought that was just amazing. Let's see. So yeah, some states, you might be able to gamble in another, but like New Jersey does it right. In New Jersey, you can do it on your phone, you can do it on your computer, but the computer has to be physically located according to what, cell phone towers or whatever, internet connections that you're physically located within the borders of New Jersey and probably not even within a mile of the border. You have to be a little further inside than that. And that's the way I think it should be because it's state law. And that's, protecting on a larger discussion here. This protects brick and mortar casinos from being closed down. This something happened in the I think it was right after computers came out. So it would have been like, late 80s, where they were just, everybody was going online and not going to brick and mortar and casinos and the U.S. government wanted to protect, U.S. businesses by not letting that happen. And there was all sorts of, wire transfers across state lines. It's pretty interesting stuff. Okay. Sorry, I don't answer your question a little more further, Sloppy Golf. You might want to ask on the Delaware slots community. Don't think we have a lot of people there, but, one place I offer. Scott, I wonder if a person should be go the first week, say they're back open. Yeah. So that's, that may have come up before I had our little conversation. I would say yes, if it was towards the end of the month, maybe even mid-month, but earlier in the month, then you run the risk of them being tight and then opening it up later. So I think, the two things I've thought through, and we will talk more about this in the next couple of weeks. The two things I've thought through are, end of the month seems to be better than beginning of the month. The reasoning that I'm working through, the business practices I'm working through seems to indicate end of month. If they were to reopen before the end of March, which seems less and less likely, it was possible a week ago, not so much now. They'd already been tight beginning of March. So we kind of went over that. Right. So Steve, PS, Slot Vantage Players Club or Friedel's Slot Vantage Players Club. I worry about using Players Club. I don't mean to knock brainstorming, but if it's a Players Club, people are going to expect comps. Am I going to have to start buying Professor Slot's throw pillows in bulk? I'll think about it, Steve. I see some difficulties with giving away free stuff. Richard says my North Carolina Cherokee Harrah's Casino is taking online reservations starting as early as May 1st. They dropped a lot of reservations, when they suddenly closed. So I don't think it would be impossible for them to drop more. But it's good to know, that, Cherokee Harrah's in North Carolina is looking at maybe reopening in May 1st. They put a number in, put a pin in it. Steve, everyone will not get a check from the government. It goes by your income level. Yeah. Don't be surprised if you don't, qualify. Sure. Casinos are not going to, gorge people who are their bread and butter. Right. We're a paranoid bunch of people. We really think they're out to get us sometimes, and they are just trying to survive. There are things that they do, and then you have the bad players that give everybody a bad reputation. There's problems with having casinos in Kentucky because prior to 1929, gangsters, before the Great Depression, gangsters ran Newport across the Ohio River from Cincinnati. It still has an impact. When I look through this history, the history has an impact, and a lot of it has to be, I don't trust them. Therefore, 50 years later, 100 years later, you got problems, difficulties sort of introducing things. Ray. Hey, Ray. Thanks for all the likes on Facebook. Are there any exceptions to reporting due to the forced shutdown that would eliminate the 85% return in Ohio? That's the reason why I don't want to say this week, this is what you do 8 weeks from now when they reopen, because what the heck are you going to do? If for a month where there is no revenue coming into a casino, what's the applicable law? I don't recall seeing any fine print about that. So somebody's going to have to make a ruling. Somebody is going to have to do, each state's gaming commission that has a gaming commission is going to have to look at the casinos and say, maybe those that were tight there in the beginning of March, particularly, I would not be surprised if a whole host of them violated their requirements, their gaming regulations, not just their business stuff, but the legal stuff. And I'm sorry, man, I didn't know we were going to be closing for 3 weeks. It never happened before. Jeez. and so, they're going to get fined. It's going to be reduced. It's going to be forgiven. It's going to be something. And that's not part of current law. So let's keep an eye on how things go. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to keep an eye on that. I can check some of the blog posts and other things to see what some states are doing and get a sense, but that's what we have to watch for. That's why I don't want to just come straight out and say this is what to do, when they come back, because when will that be and what's going to happen in the meantime? So thanks, Ray. Good question. Denise, I thought India casinos in Oklahoma did not have to disclose anything, so they would not matter to them. See, that's the thing. The first part is true. They do not have to disclose anything to the state, but they have a tribal organization, a tribal government, which has policies and procedures and expectations and what's the rules. And then just like everybody else, they got to keep their people happy, their players happy. And Denise, that they got really tight and everybody got really upset. All the players got really upset. And then what happened? They switched. Okay. This stuff matters to them. It may not be a state law. It may not be in the compact. It may not, but there's still a business, and that business, the tribal leaders will want their share. It's all going to be, there's rules, even if we don't know what they are. You can sort of tell. Yeah, you do fly blind, Scott. That is true. California flies blind. But it's a business, and I'm seeing more and more, they're not hitting the floor on the theoretical payout. They stay above it everywhere. And I'm like, why is that? Well, it's because of you guys get upset and they lose millions. So they don't want you to be upset. But we shall have to keep an eye on them, because some of these casinos are wise and some of them are not so wise. Chris, casinos should give away TP for promo gifts. Oklahoma has this Facebook meme showing a bunch of card players, and it's not chips, it's rolls of toilet paper. It was hilarious. And everybody's wearing face masks. All right. So, Leonard, online slots usually pay around 90%, 5% return to player. Well, okay. Is there a law? Is there any guarantee it would be that? And, sure. I would not be surprised if that 95% return was because otherwise people wouldn't come back, because that's what we're talking about here about brick and mortar places. But there's no advantages that I can find. Once it comes to Ohio, or I'm visiting a state where I'm there enough where I can play online, I'll learn more. But, I don't see any advantage. You just play. And the computer spits out a number. Deposit bonuses are really good. Okay. Okay, so I got something blocked by YouTube. All right. I'll let yours go, Richard. Yeah, we talk about slots too much, and YouTube says, I think this is spam. We are on episode 20, Sloppy Golf, and you are the first person who wanted to know, do I live in a log cabin? Nobody has noticed, or if they've noticed, nobody's said a thing. Yes, I'm on a loft, and I have a log cabin. My first house. 30 years of apartment living. Thank you for noticing, or at least saying something. No, there's no lake in front of it. That's okay. I don't mind not having a pond in front of me. One of the joys of my life, by the way. All this self-quarantine has meant that I have to go home and stay here. And it is not on a mountain either. That's okay. So I didn't build it myself. I bought it. Third owner, 25 years old. Sloppy Golf. I am a very observant. Well, I hope that we all become as observant as you, because we can use that in the casino. That's the point here. Scott, I have always thought the high dollar pays a lot more than Nebraska Oklahoma casinos. Reasoning is people see someone winning, so the low dollar guys just donate lots of money. I have a report on payout returns you can find on my website. I have to dig it out. And there's a section called myths of, myths. And one of them is, it's a myth, that high limit machines pay out more. I've gone through every state, and there's like 5 of them, I think, that have, payout returns in terms of slot machine denominations. And half of them, it's a high limit machine, and half of them it is not. So it's 50-50. We don't know about the ones that don't report by slot machine denomination, but certainly not all of them. I think it's reasonable to assume it's sort of distributed. It certainly is more obvious. You know, you can't win a $50,000 jackpot or a $25,000 jackpot when the maximum is 400 or 4,000. And we're getting closer. So I have wondered the same thing since way back. Yeah. I just look at some of the other states and figure it out. Great input today, everybody. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Steve. You're welcome, John. You're welcome, Steve. I understand you didn't want to ask about the house. I put things out there for the temptation. For those of you who are on the podcast or, watching later, you can see that there's a couple of logs on the side. And it might have been just a panel that I put up that somebody guessed, properly. Hey, thanks everybody, for a great show. Have fun. Be safe. Make good choices. Talk to you next week. Bye. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. This is the second segment of the show on slot machine casino gambling. Here, I provide a brief overview of the current state of gambling in a U.S. state, territory, or the federal district, emphasizing by far anything of interest to slot machine casino gamblers. Up next is Minnesota slot machine casino gambling in 2020. Here goes. Minnesota slot machine casino gambling consists of 19 tribal casinos with slot machines. Theoretical payout limits exist due to tribal state compacts. Actual return statistics are not publicly available. The minimum legal gambling age in Minnesota depends upon the gambling activity. For land-based casinos, it's 18 or 21, depending on whether or not alcohol is served. For poker rooms, bingo, the lottery, and parimutuel wagering, it's 18. Minnesota prohibited gambling for nearly a century, which to this day still influences legalized gambling. The Minnesota House Research Department documented the convoluted history of legalized gambling from 1945 through 2005 in Gambling in Minnesota, A Short History. Establishment of tribal gaming regulations was through compacts. Minnesota's 11 federally recognized American Indian tribes were the first to negotiate and sign tribal state gaming compacts. The 22 negotiated compacts produced 19 tribal casinos in the state. Each tribe has 2 compacts, one for video games of chance and a second for card games. Tribal casinos operate under a combination of state law, tribal ordinance, and tribal state compacts. Class 2 games of skill machines are unregulated by the state. These gaming compacts permit non-video Class 3 Vegas-style games of chance slot machines. However, blackjack and non-banked card games, such as poker and video games of chance, are explicitly restricted. Also banned are electronic video games like video poker, video keno, video slots, and others. The gaming compacts stipulate the Minnesota Department of Public Safety is responsible for the inspection and approval of these video gaming machines. Both parties agree that the compacts should be effective to perpetuity, but renegotiations can occur if desired by both parties. Minnesota makes all Tribal State Compacts publicly available at Tribal State Gaming Compacts, consisting of 100 downloadable PDF files. Next up is the usual short statement about slot machine private ownership, which I have included in case you live in this U.S. state and are considering owning a slot machine. Here it is. In Minnesota, it is legal to own a slot machine privately. Minnesota has 6 gaming control boards for various aspects of gambling oversight. The gaming compacts provide for inspection and approval of video gaming machines by the Department of Public Safety's Alcohol and Gambling Enforcement Division, AEGD. Further, compact gaming regulations approve the licensing of casino employees, machine payout percentages, and regulation of the play of blackjack. Specific responsibilities of the AEGD includes licensing of manufacturers and distributors of gambling devices, gambling criminal enforcement and investigation, and assure compliance with tribal state compacts. In this section, I discuss Minnesota gambling establishments. There are 19 American Indian tribal casinos on reservations in Minnesota. The largest casino in Minnesota is Mystic Lake Casino Hotel with 4,000 gaming machines. The second largest casino is Treasure Island Resort and Casino with 2,200 gaming machines. Minnesota's 2 parimutuel facilities, Canterbury Park and Running Aces, offer blackjack and non-banked card games such as poker. However, neither racetrack can offer slot machines. Minnesota has 19 tribal casinos. As usual, when there's too many casinos to mention here, a complete list along with links to their websites, assuming they've set one up, is available on my website blog article for this state at professorslots.com/mn. As an alternative to enjoying Minnesota slot machine casino gambling, consider exploring casino options in a nearby state. Bordering Minnesota is, to the north, the Canadian provinces of Manitoba and Ontario. To the east, Wisconsin, and across Lake Superior, Michigan. To the south, Iowa. And to the west, North Dakota and South Dakota. To visit any of my articles on these U.S. states, simply visit professorslots.com followed by its 2-letter postal designation. For example, my Wisconsin slots article is available at professorslots.com/WI. Are you interested in sharing and learning with other slots enthusiasts in Minnesota? If so, join our Minnesota Slots community on Facebook at professorslots.com/FBMN. All you will need is a Facebook profile to join this private Facebook group freely. There, you'll be able to privately share your slots experiences as well as chat with players about slots gambling in or near Minnesota. Again, use this convenient link I've created to go directly to our group on Facebook, professorslots.com/FBMN. Join us. As written into tribal state gaming compacts, the minimum and maximum theoretical payout for slot machines are 80% and 95% respectively over the lifetime of the game. Further, Video Keno and similar games specifically cited have a theoretical payout requirement of no less than 75% applied to each number of spots marked per wager. Video games of chance affected by player skill, such as video poker and video blackjack, have a minimum and maximum payout return of 83% and 98%, again over the lifetime of the game. These limits assume optimal play. Minnesota's tribal casinos don't offer return statistics to the public. In summary, Minnesota slot machine casino gambling consists of 19 tribal casinos with video-style slot machines. Minimum and maximum theoretical payout limits are 80% and 95% for video slot machines. Video Keno has a lower payout return limit of 75%. Skill-based games like video poker and video blackjack are instead 83% and 98%, but assume a perfect playing strategy for optimal play. No return statistics are publicly available. Over the last year, there has been no significant changes in the slots gaming industry of Minnesota. Remember to visit professorslots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Part 1 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast is a live Q&A session on YouTube. Remember, my weekly Q&A session on YouTube is on Saturdays from 2 p.m. until 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Bring whatever slots questions you have, and I'll do my best to answer them. An easy-to-remember link to my YouTube channel is professorslots.com/live. Feel free to stop by anytime during my hour-long Q&A. To suggest a topic or ask a question which might end up as a blog article or on a podcast episode, email it to John at Professor Slots, where John is spelled Jon. Part 2 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast is another brief overview of the current state of gambling in a U.S. state, territory, or the federal district. Next time, I'll be talking to you about the great U.S. state of Mississippi. That's the end of another great episode of the Professor Slots podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Show notes for this episode are on my website at professorslots.com/episode 83. I plan to have the next episode come out very soon for you, where I'll have more amazing content for the show. Until the next episode, have fun, be safe, and make good choices. Bye.